BYU Basketball with Kevin Young is presented by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Yes, it's our first show since the holiday break. Welcome back to BYU Basketball with Kevin Young. Great to be with you. We are inside Studio C at the BYU Broadcasting Building here in Provo, Utah for our weekly look inside the BYU men's basketball program. We are joined by a live studio audience. You heard just a few seconds ago. We'll hear you again. And we can be seen and heard via ESPN Plus and the BYU TV app, along with the BYU Radio app as well. Coming up on tonight's show, we will, among other things, catch up with the Cougs since our last show before the holidays, including consecutive wins to open Big 12 play. Deep Blue will profile freshman big man Xavier Staten. Mihailo Boskovic is our special guest inside Studio C. We'll have some audience Q&A with the coach and Mihailo and look ahead to this weekend's game at Utah. And to tip off tonight's show, let's bring back into Studio C the coach who now has the best 50-game coaching record in BYU Hoops history, and last night became the fastest coach to 40 wins at BYU. He is the head coach of your Cougar Hoopsters. Let's say hello to Kevin Young. All right, so we are back after the holiday break. And on that note, you had no games between December 22nd and January 3rd. I think a welcome holiday break and a very non-NBA-like schedule for you.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it until our entire family got the flu.
There was that.
So that was a little unfortunate. But no, it was nice to get away from the game for a little bit and just kind of focus on family and Christmas time. It was good.
After a really challenging non-conference schedule, too, it was a good time for a break for everybody to kind of catch their breath before Big 12 play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm big on just like mental breaks throughout the season. Obviously, in the college schedule, like you mentioned, it's a little bit more built in and baked into the schedule. So I think, balance is good. I think sometimes you can do too much, and it was nice for the guys to get away for a little while.
Back to holidays for a second. Did you get a favorite gift from Christmas this year?
I did. I actually just told the guys this story. So I asked them that. I said, hey, what gifts did you guys in your little parties were great? There was some purses. Someone threw out a car. I was like, NIL's really changed things in Christmas. But I actually bought my boys a piece of equipment in our little workout area at the house. It's a weighted sled that you push. Sounds like I'm like a hardcore dad, but really it was selfish because I wanted to use it for my workouts. But that's been a family favorite so far.
It's getting a lot of use?
A lot of use.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Big 12 play is underway for you guys. Your second season in the Big 12 as opposed to the first. How are you approaching this year maybe compared to last when you were new to the league? Yeah,
I think just having an understanding of what's coming in terms of the aggressiveness, the physicality. We saw it a little bit at Kansas State. With how much we had a lot of turnovers because there was a lot of fouls that weren't getting called, and it is what it is. You got to be able to play through it. So I think that, and then just like I said, the more aggressive, whether it's pick and roll coverages, post coverages that these teams employ, trying to do a lot of work ahead of time to be ready to counteract that.
How about the depth of the Big 12 right now, too? 9 teams in the net top 50 right now, 6 in the top 20. There are 10 power conference teams with 1 or 0 losses, and 4 of those teams are in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's we talked about a lot at the Big 12 Media Day. I think, it's interesting when you get around the other coaches in panel forum type deals where people are asking questions, and just the amount of respect as you go down the line that each coach kind of talks about that they have for the league, how hard it is, how good the players are, and the coaching and so forth. And so every night is tough. I mean, one thing for me that some of my NBA people that we've brought here that we've said about college is every game really feels like Game 7. It does in the regular season. That's why college basketball is so awesome. NBA, I was joking with Brendan Haywood, who did the call last night, former NBA
Peacock
player. Yeah, and I'm like, there's no Tuesday night in Milwaukee in January that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where both teams are on a back-to-back or what. This is every night you're getting the best effort of both teams, both coaches. And it makes for some really outstanding basketball.
Well, you're 15 games in to a 31-game regular season, so you're almost at the halfway mark. Since we are kind of a halfway spot, what do you like most about your team through the halfway part of the season?
Yeah, the togetherness. I think that it's a lot harder than I think people think about when you talk about having a lot of talent on one team. It's making sure that everybody's playing together, the ball's moving. That's probably the biggest thing for me. But I like where we're trending. I thought last night was a major step in the right direction, just with our approach, our attitude. This is a big week for us. We had since I've been at BYU, I could count on one hand the times we haven't had a great practice. Like, our guys practice really hard. I mean, you come to a lot of them, and the intensity's there. I thought the other day it was not there. I called the group out on it. They responded extremely well. And so I'm just trying to get our guys to understand that every time you show up to something, you just, bring it. Leave no doubt is kind of the phrase that we use. And I thought the way they approached the Arizona State game, we've had some slow starts. That obviously was not one of them. So if we can kind of have that edge, that kind of swagger about us, right from the jump, and whatever it is we're doing, I think hopefully that's the start of that.
I think it's okay to say, too, that you talked to your guys. You alluded to your NBA history and some of the best players on the planet you've coached, and they all had common traits, and you kind of shared those traits with the guys about how those important are, even for a Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon practice.
For sure, and it's like, again, it's this idea of, like, when you're trying to be elite at what you do, for me anyway, you want other people to worry about it. It's like everything I know if I'm going up against that guy, he's bringing it. And a lot of our guys do have that, but it's just the consistency part of bringing it, every time out. And that's a learning process with some of the younger guys.
You had a 59-point second half last night. You talked about some things trending, and one of your trends this year has been your second half efficiency. And there was a great graphic nationally that talked about halftime adjustments and which teams really excel after halftime, and BYU's right there with the best. You rank first nationally in second half offensive rating and net efficiency rating. You're second in effective field goal percentage in the second half, and you're fifth in points scored after halftime. What is it about your team's ability, players and coaches, to synthesize what's happened and use that to improve things in the second 20?
Yeah, I mean, I think basketball IQ, I think we have a smart group. And then being able, so like when we show them something at halftime, I think they're able to go out and make the necessary adjustments just within their own, within the ecosystem of the actual players out there. I think that's probably a big thing. And it's really sparked a lot of ball movement, and I think that's where some of the effective field goal percentage kind of is a product of that. And but again, going back to what I said before, it's like that's a great graphic, but let's not have it be such a big delta, right, that we're trying to claw back from. And that's obviously something we're trying to get better at.
Last couple of things before we get to some highlights. 11-game win streak right now for BYU. That's the longest win streak in 16 years, Coach. And there's been some good basketball played over those 16 years. It's tough to win that many games in a row at this level.
It is. I mean, it's a testament to the guys, their ability to understand the game plan and lock into it. It's a testament to all the coaches and all the support staff, everyone that goes kind of unnoticed behind the scenes. But, but at the same time, we're a good team, and good teams take care of business. And that's really another thing I'm trying to have our guys understand. It's like when you have talent and you're a good team, good teams do what they're supposed to do. And you're supposed to go out and win. You're supposed to go out and execute the game plan. And so, and then the last part of that I would say is you can't get bored with it. You can't get bored with doing the simple things that contribute to winning. And sometimes that can be like last night in the second half of that, we got complacent, and I think they scored like 10 straight times in a period of time there. And so we just got to.
Once the game was in hand.
It was, but still, it's like, my son said to me when I got, Dad, you get more mad when you guys are up big. I'm like, it's frustrating because but that's my point though. Like, you expect greatness because you see it in front of you. You understand, what our guys are capable of, and so when they're not playing up to that, it gets a little bit frustrating.
I want to hit one note before we get to the K-State highlights from the weekend, and that's what Jagger is doing right now in the NBA. He had a crazy overtime last night, scored all of the Nets' overtime points against Orlando. He already has the most games with 5 or more threes by any rookie in Nets history. The Nets are 9.2 points per 100 possessions better with Jagger on the court as opposed to off. What a first year he's having for those guys.
Yeah, and the thing I'm the most proud of is, it hasn't been easy for him. We played at the Garden. We went to a dinner after the game, and him and I spent a lot of time together. And the NBA it's such a long season, and there's so many ebbs and flows.
There's those Tuesdays in Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for him, the start of it was a little rocky. Now that I think that they're figuring out just some chemistry and how he fits into their group. And so to see what he did last night was awesome. I actually woke up, texted he's got a group of agents, and texted with one of his guys. Shout out Alex in Russia if he's watching, great guy. But it's just really, you feel like a proud parent because you see the growth and the development. And the thing I love was just the confidence and the passion. You see him yelling after he look kind of jacked actually doing that.
Building going nuts for him, by the way.
Yeah, building going crazy. And so extremely happy for him.
Very cool. Great opener. All right. Since we last got together here in Studio C, BYU opened the Big 12 play, played Kansas State on the road and Arizona State at home. Let's check out now some highlights and stats presented by Intermountain Health. BYU looking for its first ever win in Manhattan this past Saturday. The only meeting of the season with the Wildcats. Sold out Bramlage Coliseum last Saturday. And one of the highlight makers that BYU put on the floor was going to have to be Keba Keita. He had a career-high 16 rebounds in Manhattan. 11 points as well on 4 of 4 shooting. Second double-double of the year. He has a team win-loss record, by the way, of 7-1 when he has a double-double. He had 2 block shots at great day for Keba.
Yeah, it was great. He's so physically impressive when he's really playing with that motor. His athleticism is off the charts, and 16 rebounds, and to get 8 of them on the offensive glass was huge. And he's had a little up and down start with some injuries, with some sickness and stuff, and so looking forward to really seeing that consistently out of him.
A.J. Dubonsa had 24, 8, 3, and 3 points, rebounds, assists, and steals. 7th consecutive game at that point with 20-plus points for A.J. He drew 7 fouls and went 7 for 10 from the free throw line.
Yeah, and didn't play his best game and still put up that stat line. I know he was upset with himself with 7 turnovers, but it was good though to his first time on the road in the Big 12, you understand what teams are going to do to him. They're going to try to show him a crowd, be physical with him. Me and him had a really good film session together after that game, showing him some spots we can maybe clean up that avoid some of those turnovers. And, I thought in the second half he was better. He's better at being aggressive and attacking.
Okay, Richie Saunders Saturday, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Made multiple threes for a 5th consecutive game, which was a new career-long streak for him. Made both of his free throws, including the ASU game last night. He's now made 13 straight free throws. He's shooting 85% from the stripe on the year. Coach, he's very near to that 50, 40, 90 territory right now. Field goal, 3-point, and free throw.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's obviously a great shooter. And then, the thing I love about him is obviously the 3-point shooting speaks for itself, but he's such an efficient 2-point shooter because he takes really good shots. And I think that's really hard to do when you're a guard, is to shoot, when you're around that 50% mark. It's super hard to do. But in this particular game, I thought, he really opened up the lead for us going into halftime. He got hot. And we found him in transition a bunch, even on a night where he necessarily didn't shoot the 3 the way he would have loved to. But I thought his shooting in that particular stretch of the game really kind of opened it up for us.
One of the great things about Richie is you close out on him at your own peril, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the poster child of what we talk about, which is 0.5 basketball. Make a decision in half a second. He's either shooting it or he's driving that thing at you.
Our guest tonight is Mihailo Boskovic, by the way. Great game for Mihai, I thought, Saturday in Manhattan. He played 17.5 minutes, 9 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line as well. Yeah,
huge game for him. Probably his best game of this season so far. I really trust him. He's a guy that has done it for us on the road before. His play in this game, I think defensively was really important. You saw that block, but just, he gives us a different element because of his size. You put him out there with Beto and AJ together, and all of a sudden you got a lot of length and a lot of size and a lot of high basketball IQ out there.
Let's get to Beto, the man they call Beto, Abdullah Ahmed. He played his second game for you in the K-State game. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 block shots, 2 of 3 from the field. By the way, he has at least 1 block shot in every game he's played for BYU. And in fact, in his first 2 Big 12 games, he's sitting at 8 blocks already.
Yeah, no, he's played with the edge. You know, he has a competitive spirit around the, you know, I think he takes great pride in not letting people score around him. I think he's starting to get his wind under him a little bit more and more. I think the more comfortable he gets, the more impressive he's going to be. And I will say in that game, too, it was really the first game where we, started playing through him in that trail spot in transition and giving him the ball and letting him kind of be a facilitator. That gives us a whole different element that we really haven't gone too much this year yet, but we will moving forward.
Let's get to Saturday's assist count presented by Siegfried and Jensen, assisting Utah families for over 35 years. And BYU had 17 assists on 28 makes.
Yeah, I mean, that's who we want to be. You know, that part is the challenge when you have some guys who are really good one-on-one players. How do you merge guys' ability to be really good one-on-one but still have a culture of sharing the basketball? And that's something that we've talked about from day one. I feel like that's an area that, of late in particular, that we've really started to be much better at. I thought last year that was really the calling card of that team. Mm-hmm. This team's obviously constructed differently, but you know, that's back-breaking type stuff when you're able to move the ball like that and share it.
Let's put up our final stat sheet from Saturday in Manhattan. K-State, a very three-point reliant team. They went 3 for 21 from the arc. That was a decisive number, I thought.
It was. I thought our guys' attention to detail was really good. You know, it's tough because we were trying to slow Haggerty down, and then you're also trying to guard the three-point line. But, you know, that was really the key. We didn't think they could make enough twos to beat us, and so to hold them to, you know, that low of a number on makes was impressive.
All right, that put BYU at 1-0 in the Big 12, leading us into last night's Big 12 home opener with Arizona State. The only meeting of the season between BYU and ASU. The Cougs were playing for a 7th consecutive Marriott Center win over the Sun Devils and a 5th consecutive win over ASU overall. BYU also seeking to extend a 10-game home court win streak. Let's get to it. BYU and ASU. We're going to throw the defense in general up on the screen because it was outstanding. I thought ASU shot 38% field, 28% arc. They were held under 1 point per possession. Just a really solid defensive game for your guys.
Yeah, I thought, especially in the first half, really the first probably 30 minutes of the game, honestly. You know, our defense was really, really good. Our activity was outstanding. I think our coaches have done a great job of helping, you know, just build some of our technique with ball tracing and activity, but also not at the expense of being reckless. Like you see that metric there, 11 steals and 10 blocks.
NBA calls it the stock number. They combine steals and blocks, 21, not bad.
That's a big number, but again, I think it's how can you do that but not be reckless and still be compact and together, and that's a hard thing to do, and our guys are starting to figure it out a little bit.
All right, individuals now. Richie Saunders, career night for Richie. He loves playing ASU. 31 points as he goes 10 for 13 from the field, 6 for 8 from deep. He adds 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals in 3 games against ASU last year and this year. 29 points a game, 60% from the arc, and 63% shooting overall. And he's currently top 45 nationally in true shooting percentage. What a player.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes do seem to light up against ASU, but he was locked in. You know, he was a guy that I think took to heart, like the message, which in terms of this leaving no doubt type of mindset. You know, he was super locked in to start. I thought he helped the group get off to a good mental start, and then, you know, the ball was moving. I thought that was probably one of our best games with spacing. I think we we're somewhere in the ballpark of close to like 13 corner threes, which usually is a sign that our spacing is good and our ball movement's really good. And that was one of our more complete offensive performances.
He wasn't the only guy with a career high in scoring, by the way, Richie, as Rob Wright III went for 27 last night. He was 3 of 6 from deep, 4 assists, just 1 turnover, and one of his assists was just an all-timer, right? 40% from the arc, by the way. He's 40. Here's that pass. Unbelievable stuff. That was a highlight of the night. My goodness. He shot 40% or better from the arc in 11 consecutive games. Like, everyone has a down. He just doesn't have a down game from the arc. It's really amazing. He's such a good shooter.
Yeah, I mean, the shooting's been impressive because he, you know, early in like training camp, he wasn't shooting the ball well. I think he made just a real subtle adjustment to be a little bit more mentally locked in on some of his really simple like cues when he's shooting the ball. It's paid dividends. But the thing I love is, you know, his ability to put pressure on the defense, and then understand whether that means he should go score it himself or he should find somebody else. And I think that's been a growth for him. It's something we've talked a lot about, and he's just really coachable, and I think it says a lot about his maturity.
Yeah, so I underscore his three-point shooting, and then we see a lot of him getting downhill. Yeah. He's one of the best downhill guys in the country.
He is, you know, and he's so quick and strong and powerful. I mean, he's really a nightmare to keep out of the paint. And so, again, if he can keep making the right decisions, that's the key for him.
Okay, AJ now, 23-7, 5-2 points, rebounds, assists, and steals. 8th consecutive game now with 20 or more. That's the 8th longest streak all time at BYU. 3rd most games with 20 or more for any BYU freshman, and he's shooting 58% from the field on the year.
Yeah, I mean, again, for someone that takes the types of shots he does, I mean, it just speaks to his talent. Like, let's not get it twisted. It speaks to his talent. The guy is so unbelievably talented, but you know, again, he can do a lot of things. You see the line there with the rebounds, the assists, the steals. You know, he's really bought into how we want to play. You know, we try to put him in positions to let that talent shine through. But similar to Rob, I think he does a good job of understanding that he has to also make the right decision. And I think, you know, the assist numbers speak to that as well. But I mean, he's a hard guy to stop one-on-one, and guys have to make decisions how they want to guard him.
How about the fact the top 2 scorers in the country are freshmen? Boozer from Duke and AJ from BYU, almost the exact same number on 23 a game.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, this class, you know, I usually saw it from the other side of the NBA world, and now, you know, coming into it, now I've seen all these guys as high school players, and now you're seeing what they're doing at the college level. This is a special class for sure. And the thing I'll say, like, Boozer's a phenomenal player, and this is no knock on him or any other freshman in the country, but I think what needs to be a little bit more out there, and I'll be the first to say it, is what AJ's doing. He's doing it next to 2 other first-team All-League players. I don't know that Duke has that. I don't think Kansas has that in Darren Peterson's teammates. And so what AJ's doing it alongside of other guys, it's not just a one-man band. I mean, I think that needs to get talked about a little bit more.
Great point. Let's throw up our final stat sheet from BYU and ASU as the Cougs win at 104-76. So they win going away, a 28-point win in the game that BYU led by 38. And, Coach, it's BYU's first ever 2-0 start in Big 12 play.
Yeah, no, you know, we took care of business on the road, which was something great to get us started, and then to come home and not have a letdown and just think, oh, you're going to win because you're just at home. I mean, that was something I was worried about. But you know, our guys were locked in. You know, they responded, like I said, to a midweek challenge, and I really appreciated their approach to this game and helped us get an important win.
Let's get right to the January schedule now, see how it's shaping up here. 8 games on the Big 12 slate in January, 2 already in the books, the win at K-State, the win home to ASU. At Utah on Saturday. We'll talk more about the Utes game here later in the program. A home game before a run of 3 ranked games in 4 opponents with Texas Tech, Utah, Arizona, and Kansas all lurking. And we've seen enough Big 12 basketball already to know this is going to be a grinder from 1 through 18. It
is. You know, it's exciting, but at the same time, I mean, you got to really go game by game. You know, you start with Utah. I mean, it's I think someone was telling me today, I think we're 1-4 up there in the last 5.
2-5 in the last 7.
Okay, so yeah. It's like, you know, with all due respect to them, we were better than they were last year. You know, we go up there and we left one on the table that we should have won, and so we got to go up there locked in. You know, we want, obviously, it's a big night for Richie, big night for Kaba. You know, I was talking to AJ about that. I'm going to grab Rob as well and let him understand, like, how big of a moment and game that is for those guys, and try to you know, send those guys in their last chance up there with the win, and it'll be it's just different. You know, rivalry games are different. I experienced it firsthand last year, and I hope there's a lot of blue in the stadium up there, which I heard rumors that there's going to be a lot.
Yes, so. I'm hoping we have overcome the hurdles, I think, to get some people in the building. Yeah. I'll look for that as well. All right, time for our first break after a jam-packed first segment. And this is a reminder that your day-to-day Cougar Sports play-by-play happens on BYU Sports Nation with Jerem Jordan and Spencer Linton, weekdays at noon Eastern on BYU TV and BYU Radio.